That's weird. No one. I'm like, hey, can you guys hear me in the live stream? All right. So if anyone's watching, yeah, I'm not sure. How about now? Can you guys hear me in the live stream? All right. So if anyone's watching, yeah, no, that was the phone. I had the phone on. Oh, I think Hans is trying to get back in. Can you still hear me, Jose? How about now, Jose? Can you hear me? This is probably better. Okay, cool. Hans, you there?
Yeah.
I hear him.
Cool. Oof. Bullets.
Ha ha. It's all right.
Yeah.
Just to have fun. We don't, no need to stress out.
Have fun, dude.
That's right.
Audio is super low, I hear. Okay. Let me see. I can fix that real quick. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Yep. I gotta bring this sucker up. Wow. How's this, guys? Can you hear me a little bit better? This is for the watchers, the viewers on the live stream. At one point, we had like 6 people here, and I hadn't started the live, so that was pretty funny.
No, that's good. They had a time, man. That's good.
Yeah, Yeah, I feel bad for those who join and whatever, but it is what it is, man. All right.
Check back. They'll check back.
Okay.
You know how it is for all of us.
Yeah.
Family people. Wife calls, and then you gotta go. And
Oh yeah. Window capture. Let's see. Guest soon.
been a while since we did this, guys. When was the last time we did one of these?
I don't know. See, I lost track. I got in trouble last time I did a live stream on YouTube.
How?
Well, I was trying to live stream the Formula One, not the race, but the qualifying event.
Yeah, no.
And I got like 45 minutes into it, and they shut it down. And YouTube said I have 1 strike against me. If I do something like that again, the 3rd time they're gonna shut me out.
Nice.
Do I care that much?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I like to reach people.
What's
I
the
guess,
next thing you're gonna get freaking copyright struck for? At least you're an automotive channel.
Yeah, I definitely don't want that. So here we go. I got you guys up here. Jose's the only one without a freaking camera.
Yeah, no, I got time. So
Yeah, I got time.
Well, we're live, so
Don't worry, we're live. Yeah, no, it's nice to see everybody. I hope everybody can hear everything on the live stream. Sorry, it took a while to get going, but I don't do this for a living, obviously. So I'm glad you're here, Nathan.
yeah, no, it's good to be here.
Hans, you there? You got audio?
Yeah.
You got your
Yeah, I
stuff
can hear
figured
you.
out?
Yeah.
Cool, bro. Cool. This stuff it's so simple, but you don't do it for a little while and you totally forget how to do everything.
Yeah.
I don't want media. I want. I hate old GoPros. Preferences. Okay. And to tell this HDMI, because I got a second camera going for when I show off the cylinder head.
Nice.
HDMI output. I want live. Bam. That's what I wanted. Okay, HDMI output. Dude, Nate, you got some comments?
Do I have comments? Oh, hi.
Say hi. Oh, man, that looks like crap. So that's my room, and this is my cylinder. I wish I had lights. Lights. I don't know.
Lighting's not too bad.
Yeah, but this is my cylinder head, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I could do picture on.
Oh, that come through weird.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm not gonna do picture. Auto, do that. Bam. Cylinder head. So the reason I've got the cylinder head all cleaned up. I think you guys remember this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're gonna do one of these. Science.
Only you, Barry. Only you.
You know where I learned that, Jose?
Who?
You.
Oh shit! That's what I get.
That's a good one, bro. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Let's kind of set the pace here while Jose gets his camera and stuff figured out. So I'm happy to see everybody. I know Hans, you just saw Nathan last weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
you
you
dropped. Yeah, you dropped off your
things
car
happen.
down there.
Yep.
Tell me what happened when you dropped off your car at the MercRacing compound.
Drove it like we stole it.
The MercRacing
really
trap
happened.
house.
I didn't even get to race.
I know.
Yeah, that's the sucky part. I wanted to come down over the race, but I didn't even have time to race because we had to get up on the road. But Nathan and Jose, they did a couple pulls with the car after I left. So that was pretty interesting. But I feel like there was a huge weight difference between the two cars. EP3 weighs a lot less. Plus, my car had a passenger, and I have another like 50 pounds in the trunk.
Oh yeah,
I would say like my car probably. What's the EP3 weigh?
I think stock weight is 27. Yeah.
So I probably had another 600 pounds.
Wow.
Because your sister was in the car, right?
Yeah, she's real light though. She's
so
like
300 plus 100. That's 400. Okay, maybe 450. My fault.
Yeah.
450.
Still
Difference.
yeah.
But it was a close race.
Hey, I was on pump gas. All right, I was on pump gas.
How much do you weigh, Jose?
Crazy.
Don't you weigh like as much as Nate and your daughter?
I'm like,
no, we're pretty even.
I am like 200 and some pounds. Almost. Actually, I weighed myself 240, I think, or two. I don't know, over 225. So, and Nathan put like 300 pounds worth of metal in the back of the car on exhaust.
Oh, in his car, yeah. Yeah, so he's got basically double the exhaust of a standard EP3.
You guys
basically
didn't
the
do
whole
any
trunk's
race prep, did you? You're just like, oh, let's go.
No, he went, I'm going to tune the car this morning.
Weighs like twice.
See if I can fix whatever issues we're dealing with there. But
yeah.
No, you could hear it in the video on Instagram that like you hear it just like and just like break up all the way down.
Now, but Hans' car is freaking fast, dude, and we just giving each other a hard time. But I got a lot to catch up on still. So
his car is fast. It's just not dramatic like all the EG hatches sitting out there with like 200 horsepower. where you're just
Yeah.
banging gear and spinning 165s or something like that.
Yeah.
No, the car
Gets
just
all the
moves.
Instagram views.
Yeah, I noticed. I don't know. I don't know if like weight because Junior, the Turbo SI that came with us
Yeah.
to your thing. So
Mhm.
when we raced, it was close. He was only pushing 370, but he was dynoed on a Mustang dyno. So
Yeah.
those numbers are probably lower. So I'm
Yeah, there's
saying he's
probably 50
closer to
horsepower right
380,
there.
5. But when I raced him, his car's gutted now. So
Wow.
Mm.
he took all the back seats out, all the whole trunk. Everything's just bare metal from the seat to the back. So when we raced him, plus I had a passenger. It was a close race. Me and him was a actually fairly close race. So seeing that race and then seeing the video that Jose and Nate did, I was like, damn, maybe weight does make a huge difference. Or not
Oh,
huge,
for sure, dude.
you know what I mean. It makes a difference because when I be going to Mexico, I don't take anything out of my trunk. I keep
Yeah.
Mm.
all this weight in. 'Cause I'm just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But
You have your
I'm
packing
thinking,
gear.
yeah, I think everything makes a difference, especially with weight. So I think like when I do get the car back, I'm gonna start looking at not weight reduction, but just start like piecing things here and there slowly, reduce it as
Mhm.
much as I can.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I mean, but then meanwhile, I'm gonna be adding weight to my car because I'm gonna put all that noise, whatever, sound deadening, whatever crap that
Oh
Jose
yeah,
sending me.
yeah.
That
But
stuff is
yeah.
very light. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
It's lighter than Dynamat, right? You said?
Oh, very, very light. Yeah, very light. It's foam, literally.
Cool. Cool. Very nice. But yeah. So you just dropped off the car. You were like, here's a car. And how'd you get back?
Oh, we drove back. Took two cars.
Okay.
Yeah, I took two cars. Usually I drop it off and either rent a car and drive up and drop off the car or take a flight. But the
Okay.
flights were too expensive because it was Memorial Weekend.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Usually they're only like 70 to $100. Average like $100 to fly back up. So, but this time they were like ridiculous, almost $300.
Yeah. No, I remember because I think, see, I'm flying down this weekend.
Oh,
And I remember looking at the price, and the prices were a huge difference between this weekend and the even though the weekend leading up to Memorial Day was bad as far as flying and
Mm.
stuff like that goes, or travel period. But anyway,
Charlotte.
so I think we don't want to bury the lead and start talking too much crap here. We wanted to start talking about how this live stream came about for those of you who are here. So Jose, Hans, and I were on a group chat, and we're starting talking like, hey, Hans got a really good deal on. Is this the first 4-piston ported K24 head?
Hmm?
Like
Yeah,
this is the first one
the
to do
guy,
it.
he was the first pre-order and he waited almost 2 years. It was like 18 months or something, year and a half.
Yeah,
And he waited. And it's just so funny because I joked around. I was like, once he finally got it, I joked around. I was like, hey, let me get it from you. Like, no,
yeah,
no, I'm excited, blah, blah. Then I think about 2 months later, he was just like, he wanted to move on. And he actually ended up getting an STI.
Mm.
He sold all his next gen stuff. So he gave
got
me a
it.
killer deal. Like, let me put it this way: that head, fully built, ported, everything decked, full Ferrari springs, valves, everything. It's cost me just almost a little bit over than the high tech header.
Yeah,
So that's why I was just like, I can't see myself throwing another 4 to 5 grand on this head, a K20 head, because if I was gonna do it, I was gonna fully rebuild it, port it, just do everything on it. And just to me, it wasn't. And that's how our conversation started. I was just like, nah, I can't see the extra. Even if the K20 head's better, I'm not saying it's not. I don't see
Mhm.
the extra 3 grand worth my 30, 40, 50, even 50 wheel horsepower. Because to me, I could just be like, all right, I'll just up the boost. Okay, I'll just uh, put a bigger blower. Okay, I'll just go methanol injection. I'll do something else. To me, it wasn't worth it at that point.
Yeah, no, dude, and like you bring up a good point. When you think about it, like I remember when I drove the K20 head swap. I asked the guy like straight up, hey man, so what does a head swap like this kind of cost on a, and the cost that he told me was like astronomical. I was like, wow, like $5,000 just to swap your head and make 300 horsepower, or a little bit under 300 horsepower, and still not a lot of torque. So I was like, wow, like yeah, like I would have done what we did. I would have just gone boosted, whether it's like, if you want to go turbo, but obviously we're all, supercharged freaks here. But that, like you said, the cost, it didn't seem worth it to me. Even though the car, once you do that, all of that, the car's, lighter. It seems to like, and it sounds crazy. Like, if you've driven the night gen for a while, you're not getting the real sort of sound that we're used to getting from a Civic or an Integra, like that real VTEC. And I noticed that this weekend when I was doing autocross, there was a night gen, and that thing sounded good, but then the 8th gen would drive by, and you could hear that thing like from a mile away. And not like the exhaust, not like a farty exhaust. Like you could hear VTEC from a mile away, dude. Like that thing was like reverberating. The buildings are. It was just like, that's.
It sounds sick.
That's
it's a good
sexy
sound. Yeah.
Actually, let me see. I have some videos here. Let me see if we can just get at least the audio through. Sorry, guys. So where's the Civic? Let's see.
Oh, and plus, while you're looking for that, I wanted to experiment, and it was a cheaper cost for me to experiment, and I really wanted to see if Four Piston really did a good job with this head. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh yeah, they took their time with that thing, dude. I agree.
yeah. And
So
Four Piston now is trying to make cams for it. So the live stream that I saw with Four Piston, Luke, the owner, whatever, he was I can't remember exactly what he said. Something triggered him to look back into the Z7 head. And he said doing his research and looking at it, he just felt like these heads were really good. And I don't think they would have went into designing or doing this port work if there wasn't money. Everyone's in business to make money, right?
yeah,
And there's a lot of companies that already tried it and like make cams for it and stuff like that. They failed. They just didn't make power from it, or it was very minute. But it seems like they're confident enough the way they ported their head or do their head that they're going to design a cam where it'll significantly change the profile of it. So we'll see what happens.
I think cams would help a lot. I mean, look, this head comes with oversized valves. It already has. Let's see. I'll probably get it under better lighting. I don't know if that thing actually even like is worth doing, but this is my messy little home office. But yeah, so the head, like when we were building it, we were like, yo, this head, like it's pretty promising. It looks very promising. Because the valves are bigger, the intake ports are massive. But yeah, let me play you the clips of this weekend. Let me see if you guys can get this audio through. So this is the 8th gen, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Let me try to find the 9th gen. Oh, dude, there was that Miata with the K-swap. That thing was sweet. The K-swap Miata. To see it in person, it's pretty dope.
It really like solidifies the idea in your head.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, people are doing this thing, and the guy's super cool. He's like, yeah, dude, I'm happy to talk to you and stuff like that and whatever. Yeah, why does it say like we got like mad people? Oh, Jose?
That's me.
Oh,
Yay.
there you are.
Oh,
Why is there like two of you?
I'm doing the audio through my little ear pods, so I don't have to hook up a microphone and all that.
Got it. Let me see
Yeah, I
if I
can
can
try
like.
real quick and see what it does for the audio.
No, let me see if I can like
oh,
merge.
try doing hide non-video participants. I don't know if that works for you the same way it does for me.
Yeah, let me see view.
This sort of just puts his name away, but
There you go. We're done. We're done. But yeah. Oh, nice fish tank, dude.
Oh, because every time I talk, it's gonna go to that black
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. All right.
Yeah.
Let me switch it. See what it does.
No,
let me
do
know.
it,
Let me
dude.
know what
We're
the
good.
audio is like.
I'm gonna try to
Too
do
late.
this so people actually see us more.
Oh, now I gotta. Yeah, and I'm gonna switch my Bluetooth here to iPods. There we go. Disconnect.
Your screen's kind of dark, Jose. You look, I don't know. You look like you just went on the beach and got like a tan, or you went like in a tanning booth. But yeah, so let's see. Brian from Hasport has started the turbo and manifold for the K20C. Will bolt right into the K20. He didn't check gasket fitment though. Yeah, here's the thing, dude. I know almost nothing
back.
about the Type R head, except that it's basically very similar to the Z7 head. And that's kind of like my theory. Like they made this head to sort of mess around with their next generation.
I think that's what they did.
You know, obviously, like the one thing I love about it is like you want to like swap out your manifold or your downpipe on this thing. It's like super easy. I remember like doing my headers back on the RSX. It's like the gasket, you'd have to like line it up, and then like the header was heavy, so you'd have to like make sure it didn't like fall down to the ground. So there's like little things like that that are pretty cool, pretty important. But you know, I think ultimately this head will not outperform the K20 head. That's my opinion.
maybe not a ported K20 head, but I think 4-piston had numbers themselves.
Yeah, they had numbers comparing it to a non-ported K20 head.
Yeah.
Yes,
Which is fine.
Actually, what was interesting from that is that I believe the factory R40 head actually has a better intake by a very slight number, but a better flowing intake side than a stock K20 head.
Well, they're huge, dude. I should have brought my K20 head, but I didn't feel like cleaning up two heads today. But
Good.
I feel like most of the people who are here know what that looks like anyways.
so anyway, let me see. I'm gonna switch to the other camera.
But it's one of those things, though. When you see it next to each other, yeah, it really.
Yeah, like these ports are massive, dude, and it's like a straight shot all the way down. Now, let me see if I could get let me see how far I can get with this cord. Hold on, I'm gonna switch over. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. All right, so here we go. So you see, it's like a straight shot down there. I don't know. They look bigger, these openings, and you figure like if they get ported.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get even more.
But yeah, but like the downside.
Let me pause you. Let me pause you for a second there, right? Like Nathan, what are if you Hans or Nathan? You have the numbers in front of you, right? What were the numbers for that head?
Got it here.
For the
I
intake
just got
side.
them. For R40 or for K?
Okay, they are for you.
R40 stock intake is 308 CFM.
And the stock K20?
Stock K20 is 296.
So without porting, I read the intake
is better. Yes.
flows better. Yeah.
It's the exhaust where it gets choked out, which I mean I don't know how much more choked out what 10 CFM is going to be, but K20A head is 199 CFM, and R40 is going to be 182. Obviously, I don't have all the information because I'm sort of basing these off of Instagram posts from them, but they're. See, I don't know if it's even just like the CFM like flow rating now, because like an R40 based K24 will knock a lot sooner than a K20A or another K24A2, and we don't
put your
even
volume up a little bit, Nathan.
Oh yeah, we're not exactly even sure about the reason for that. Because really is like 10 CFM going to make that much of a difference where now we're running into knock,
Right.
which is something that we're going to see definitely a change in with doing like Honda said and stuff. So hopefully they'll give us some more flexibility as far as that goes, or who knows, maybe it's cooling in the way that the head flows coolant, and that changes cylinder temperatures and pressures, and maybe that's why we run into those issues sometimes. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, my prediction or my feeling is on this that the CFM is one thing, but the efficiency of that area is what matters the most. Yeah. That back pressure. And then part two to this theory of mine is the header. I have not seen a good header made for this head. And what I mean by that is the crazy design that just immediately comes up to a V shape. And I won't go into more detail, but I think that's where a lot of the problem is. It just too quickly narrows it down and creates way too much back pressure. But I have nothing to technically base this on, just theory at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's the theory and there's the stuff. You had your hands like all over, no homo, my head when we were building. Sorry. I had to put it out there, like, yo.
I know you're enjoying yourself on that.
There's stuff really that happened in the part, in the garage.
It's just bro things.
Yeah,
man.
but yeah, no, you got a good hands on with the head, and you've been messing around with the K series motor for a long time, so you have some, how'd I say, some credibility.
Yeah.
If not a lot.
Look at things like flow. An example in the regular K20 head, how much in a high horsepower application, how much a good header makes a difference on horsepower.
Yeah.
On many applications, like people go put an NA header on a supercharged vehicle and then wonder why they only make 300 horsepower, right? Or they're still knocking too early, but now you go put a good header, like a high tech or an ASP header on, and suddenly you're, no more knocking, good flow, more power just from a header, not even porting or anything like that, just the header. And this is where my theory really lands is I think there is still a problem in the technical aspect of this conical header where it needs to be thought out of the box a little bit to do better. But
yeah, and this is where people are spending the money, and it's a lot of money to buy a high-tech header. But you're buying something that is specific to your application. So, there are two other guys who convinced me to buy this high-tech header, and they're both NA. One guy, I think he made the most horsepower on a 9th gen, that was K20 headswap. I mean, he had a built motor and everything, but on 93 pump, he was like kissing 300 horsepower. But his header and my header are completely different in design. I spoke to the owner of High Tech, and I was like, look, this is what I'm doing, and funny enough, he didn't say get the header with the biggest tubes. I thought he was going to say, here, get the header with the biggest tubing or whatever. But he said, no, your issue is going to be velocity. Yep. So this is where we get into, like you said, like CFN versus efficiency of flow.
Mm-hmm. It
I
looks
think,
like we
I
got
think,
some comments. You got some comments there now. You might want to check.
yeah, I got a bunch. I'm trying to see like if we could lay the groundwork. So someone said, Tix Bomber, he brought up a good point. Brian from Hasport has stated the turbo and manifold of the K20C will bolt right onto the. Oh, so I guess the turbo from a Type R will bolt right into our head. So that's
Be
interesting.
interesting.
Not surprised.
Not surprised. You know,
Honda.
like that's kind of like what we said. Like Honda wanted to design a turbo friendly engine.
Legos. Mm-hmm.
Yep. The stock turbo has the flange integrated. We went over this on Facebook. Okay. Yeah. Ben Guy, my tuner is always talking about velocity in and out.
In
Yeah.
and out.
You need that air in and you need it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine the stress on a piston that's trying to push up, but there's leftover pressure in the chamber. You know, that's where you get into knock. That's really what knock is. Or really it's really pre-detonation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I find it odd that so many people denigrate the R40 when the K20Cs ultimately have the same limitation. Yeah, but you know what the thing is? This head, and I'm guessing the Type R head as well, is turbo friendly.
Yeah.
Very, very.
The
It's
runners-
very log manifold.
Yeah, the runners on this head that are casted in are not all the same length. Some of them are, like the center ones, are roughly the same length. The ones on the outside, they're not. Let's see. I think I could bring this stuff here. Where am I? So here's the head that I took apart. So this is where you get a close look at it. So these here in the middle, where am I? These are the two exhaust ones. Oh, crap. These are, they shoot straight out. Then you got, let's see. These on the side, look at them. They flow out into like this 45-degree corner. And not only that, they're hitting a wall right here. Like, so the air's coming up, hitting the wall. It's got to go around. And that's why I got all this fancy paper here. I'm going to do some ghetto flow testing.
Are we going to see this or what?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. You want to see it now?
Okay. Yeah, whenever you want, whenever you're ready. I'm just curious.
So this is the same thing we did in the garage, right? Like,
yeah.
We did this in the garage. It was funny, but it was also very interesting. Let's see. I'm gonna keep going with this camera because I think this camera can get us the better
quality.
view.
I mean, it looks real good. I'm monitoring the chat, the video. It looks really clear.
Yeah, check the chat too. I don't know if you guys are looking at the chat, but
I have stopped. But
I'm gonna turn my mic down because this is gonna be loud.
yeah, bring your mic up because it's getting quiet too. All right.
Let's see, decibels. All right, so I turned it down a little bit. So this is my leaf blower. This joint fits exactly where the valves actually go. So I'm gonna hit one of the middle valves so you can see it.
That's pretty good.
Go ahead, another one. Now the outside one.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
No.
Like you can't make this stuff up.
So is the air just going on a diagonal? Yeah, that's all it's doing. It's going at a diagonal. It's just not so the flow. It looks like the flow is still the same. It's just going at an exit at a different diagonal.
Right, right. So
Look, the edges don't move because it's straight shot. The one at the end, it goes diagonal, but it's flowing out that way.
Yeah.
Don't look at the center when you go to the end.
I know. You're good. I know the flow's going this way, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to show it here, honestly, because.
But you could feel it, right? Remember that, Barry? You could feel the amount of
pressure
air
difference. There is a pressure difference.
It's like so much less air coming out.
Okay.
But also, the air's flowing all this way. What's over here?
Yeah.
Another wall.
The wall.
So the air is going to travel this way. It's going to hit the manifold, going to go this way, and then you got all this turbulence because this air is also traveling this way, and it's going to hit that way, and that's where the problems happen. And that's okay for a turbo, really.
Yeah.
Because a turbo creates suction as well, right? So it creates negative pressure for the air to force itself into, and once you get that turbos pulled up, like that's all she wrote. I remember when I had a turbo on the RSX, the runners were not the same size. So like it was like one runner would go like this, the other runner would go like that. So it actually benefits the turbo that the runners are not all exactly the same.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a turbo based head, and one big thing is that like I feel is a very big like misunderstanding with like the way that like turbos and stuff work is that like, oh, you just need airflow. Well, you also have this whole thing where you run into like expanding gases, and the R40 head, because everything's concentrated into a single point of like heat and pressure, it works extremely well for a turbo.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't know personally, but I would assume that the R40 spools most likely a lot quicker than like a normal K20 or K24 head would do, just simply based on that. You probably have all this combustion happening, post cylinder, creating all this extra pressure inside the turbine and making sure that your spool is good. So it's one of those things where like, it works well with turbo, but like in an NA or possibly supercharged, maybe not quite as much, but that, you don't run into this issue where you have scavenging helping pull the extra air out of another cylinder, or because the momentum of air leaving from one cylinder will pull air out of the rest of them, which is why you have like a lot of people doing like long tube headers or different 4 to 2 to 1s instead of just 4 to 1s, because it gives you that chance to do your scavenging, which you see a lot in like the big horsepower V8 guys dealing with the same thing because they're fighting for flow more than anybody.
Yep. Hey, one thing I want to add to all this, I know it's just not me being a business guy. It's for the people listening. We're talking theory here quite a bit, right? Like we don't have anything right now showing technical flow analysis and to help us validate what we're talking about, but just using a lot of common sense and just sharing theories on what we're thinking is happening here or what we're going to expect. So don't take it as I don't want to hear later, oh my God, can you believe they were saying this? No. We're just talking here. And hopefully we can prove it when we set up Hans' car and see how his car behaves and so on. And maybe one day someone with the money and equipment can test this stuff properly and can come up with better ways of measuring the differences. But anyway,
at the end of the day, we're all still just bench racing.
Yeah. No, but like I think Hans will benefit from the 4-piston head.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they have, number one, they don't flow test their heads like I just did. They ported an already really big intake port. We were very careful with porting the intake on my head. We went nuts on the exhaust side because we're like, let's just open up this funnel.
Take a lot out from the exhaust or not?
We did a decent amount, but it was mostly like cleaning of like the little in between sections and then anywhere where we knew the casting would be thick. But even
the mouth, the opening, we took out a ton. but you know, you still have the same downpipe. I still have the same downpipe. You know, like maybe a 3-inch downpipe would help a little bit, but
You're definitely still hitting a 90 straight out of the head.
yeah, you're hitting a
it
90
goes
straight
like
out
that,
of
right?
yeah. So I don't know. I'm glad we got that done. I was like, how am I gonna show this thing to people? Because it's like, at first I wanted to build a plexiglass enclosure and put ping pong balls in there.
Like the old KNN demos. That used to
Yeah,
have. Yeah.
but I was like, I don't have time for this crap. I'm gonna
Oh, okay,
duck.
I'm
I
back.
got a question.
Yeah,
So you know how like the outer heads, right? It's flowing. It takes a longer time to get through, exit out.
yeah,
So you know the two middle ones, they got like, let's say 2 inches to leave. The outer ones have like 4 inches to leave, right?
yeah.
What happens? Like, does that air on the outside get trapped before the other exhaust valves open and close? Like, does that, with that restriction, does that make those outside exhausts like get stuck and like try to go back into the head? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, does it like prevent the middle two? You think it prevents the middle two from pushing all that exhaust out? Like, you think that turbulence could cause something bad?
I wonder if it wouldn't do like turbulence, but if anything, helps
He's on.
suck the extra
Put it
exhaust
back.
flow out of those two.
Yeah.
Or if like, you know, because they're obviously going to be stronger as
Get
far
another
as like airflow goes,
Put more.
that they'll most likely end up pulling, you know, extra air, sort of like doing scavenging. But
Yeah.
obviously it depends on like how much
You got, like,
time
2
is that
hours.
gas spending in the head. How much is you know, how long is it going to be till, you know, your next cylinder opens? Because obviously it doesn't just fire 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll be like, I believe on that car it's like 1, 3, 4, and then 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're
you know,
not all firing at the same time. If you had
exactly.
like, if you had 2 cylinders firing at the same time,
Right.
that would actually be a big issue. I mean, you still have air that comes out of the cylinder that isn't firing. No, you don't, because the valve's closed.
Yes.
So they're not firing at the same time. I don't think it creates that big an issue, but it to me it would create some turbulence, and that's just my theory. In the head, probably closer to the downpipe. But you know, this stuff, it was really curious to me because, how do I say this? You know, when I got the 9th gen after you guys built it, I went through like 3 or 4 different exhausts, and the power difference was like nothing. On some of them, I lost power that I thought I was going to gain power. So I kept wondering, like, what the hell? And then I went catless, and I'm like, I'm for sure going to gain 5 horsepower here. And I gained nothing, right? It's like, so, well, in the past, like Jose said, you would switch a header and you'd find more power. You'd find more room in tuning. You could run a little more ignition or whatever. And I couldn't find any. Not here. And to be honest, guys, like, I've been driving my car a lot lately. I don't know. I don't feel like I need to do the head swap just because I want to go faster.
Yeah.
Right? To me, I'm just curious at this point. Like,
So I mean, really, with like the R40 platform, we're really running into like this issue of knock in a sense, especially when you can't run the 85. On pump gas, we're limiting ourselves to that, you know, 350, 400 range on a 1900 at trying to hit 19, 20 psi of boost. We're running into large cases of where we're hitting 30 knocks on dyno. You know, again, it's on pump gas, and obviously everything's got its little nuances, but it's definitely one of those things where, you know, flow is gonna sort of solve that for us. And if not, you know, there's obviously the option of going methanol, which, you know, I don't personally like because it's more of an idea of temporary horsepower, but yeah, there's always solutions for what we want anyways. It's just more like, what are you willing to do for your use case?
right. And one thing I noticed, I mean, I drive with the Honda app on all the time. One thing I do, I start the car, I turn traction control off, and I put my Honda thing on.
Yeah.
And I've been driving the last couple of days with probably about 2 gallons of race gas in it. And then I filled it up when it got to about halfway, so there's probably like a little bit less octane in it at this point. But the car is still less sensitive to like that false knock or that VTEC crossover knock that you find. So I made up my mind. There's a guy here, a 4-cylinder unicorn. He's in California. He just had his 1320 done. And he runs 91 octane, but then he adds about a gallon or two of 100 octane gas because he doesn't get 93 pump even where he's at. Even me, I'm like, you know what? Think about it. I am gonna start driving with a little bit of race gas in the car.
It really doesn't hurt anything, and it really all you're doing is making better fuel and getting that octane up, whatever. And it seems like you guys don't need a lot of octane to make this work. Like I wish I knew what the measurement is when you do this mix, but it's not a lot.
I think he said he's at. He texted me. He said he was at like either 94 or 93 and a half, something like that. I don't know.
Wow.
But obviously,
okay,
it's
he said,
he's going from 91 to whatever 94. But it's a clean,
nice.
it's a steady fuel. It's not like you're going to go to the pump in the morning and it's going to be a different kind of gas that you're going to get like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So, like if that saves you your engine, for example, like think about it. What's the cost of rebuilding a blown engine versus running, let's say $10 extra of expensive gas per fill up?
Yeah.
And again, guys, we're talking about a very high horsepower setup. Or higher boost, like 16 psi up or so.
Yeah. So this guy, he's up to 93 and a half, and he's running a lot of ignition but less boost, about 12 psi.
Nice. Where did he end up at power wise?
320, 330.
I think like 320.
What psi?
12 psi.
Okay, that's pretty normal.
That's a really mild psi setup. But
That's
if you're
really
able to make up horsepower and ignition, then it was the point of adding more boost. It's just causing yourself more issue or risk of detonation. Which seems to be the theme in the 9th gen platform.
Yeah. 12.8 psi. He wants to let people know it's almost 13 psi.
So it's actually very low then, because that would be the peak. So that's very low. I mean, that's back in the Jackson Racing days, right?
Yeah, that's high-end Jackson Racing CT.
Yeah.
Dude,
not even pushing it yet.
Please answer the question. Did you have race gas in the car, like when you were tuning? I'm trying to figure out whether he got tuned with 91 and then went home and put
K24 or
4-cylinder unicorn power.
Oh, okay.
He just
in the
put up
meantime,
his numbers.
Damn, but look at that torque. 258.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's not Jackson Racing torque.
Yeah.
No.
K24 actually brought up a really good point where earlier on he had said that for turbo that the head made a really good job for like low flow scavenging, but at higher flow rate you end up dropping off, which is actually really brings a good point, because we see it in both yours and Hansa's car where you guys have a ton of torque with no high horsepower flow, where you're making, had you let your car rev up to like 8,000 RPM, because we're still going to like 7,000, 7,500.
I'm at 82, bro.
I'm at
yeah, so you're at 82. But Hans and all those factory motor guys were at 7? I think last time I was driving Hans's car and I was at 72, and we're making 450 something like that at 7,200 RPM. We still the K series is one of those engines where it just keeps making horsepower until the RPM drops off.
Yeah,
and I feel like it still wants to make that extra power, but limiting as like whatever the factory thought. The issue with the rods and everything were...
That brings a reminding point for me. It goes back to when we started sorry to change the subject a little bit. When we started the live stream, we were talking about the race between my car and Hans' car. if his car was built motor and was at 8,500 RPM as well, I would have been toast.
Yeah.
Because he would have been at almost 500 horsepower at that point.
Yes.
And where I was at my peak, already. So anyway,
if you take the opportunity to look at like the power, the graphs between like one of our 500 horsepower, K24s or whatever, versus an R40 based engine for that, you see that like earlier on they actually make a little bit more torque, or at least seat of the pants torque, but they almost have a very identical graph up until you hit that RPM limit, which is why you don't get peak numbers out of our cars, and it makes the 9th gen platform look bad in a sense if you're worried about that. But at the same time, you're making 450 while performing like a 550 horsepower car, or at least having that power band down low. Maybe not quite the exact same numbers, but your car is performing at a higher level than it looks like on paper, because your reference as a Honda person or as a K series person is that everybody goes to 85, 9,000 RPM anyways, and what's your number all the way up there? Nobody goes. And, realistically, the 9th gen platform is making a ton more torque than we're used to. Or I mean, I say making a ton, more but power 20, too, 30 torque is not an insignificant number. Which is where I feel like that head flows really well at the low RPMs, but up high, you run into this issue where you can't get the exhaust gas out.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at when I was only pushing 418, which is not my current tune, my last tune, and Derek put a comparison chart. I'm looking at it now. Derek had to, torque-wise, he had to really bring down the torque from 3,000 to 4,000 RPM. Like there's that horseshoe. Throughout the whole power brand, compared to Tony's car, I make a lot more power until basically till redline, and then he just continues to make power because his redline was at 8,500.
Right, exactly.
So like these K24s, I'm telling you, with just stock, this is stock. They make more horsepower with these supercharger kits by far. If you look at the graph, I just make more power.
Yeah.
Next time, I want to have him compare the 450 wheel to his, and then when I dyno the new numbers, I want to compare the two between me and Tony's car.
Yeah, one thing too is that Tony's car is K20.
Yeah, it's a K20.
So they should, torque's going to be down even further, but.
What would be smart, Nathan, if I could get my car there the same, at least before or after, to have comparison between the two.
Yeah.
Because my motor, even the gearing, I think between the two of us is pretty close.
The gearing is really close. You can see it in the race where the point that we're shifting is literally only RPM based for most of the time.
I think, Jose, you got shorter fifth gear though, right? Your fifth gear is gear X.
Yeah, it's just a little shorter, but for the dyno purpose.
Yeah, because
we would dyno at fourth gear, right?
Fourth gear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fourth gear is 1-to-1 for it's close to 1-to-1. Do you feel like, because you're like watching the video, and when I hear you shift, your fifth gear is so much shorter, I don't hear that big RPM drop like mine. Do you think that fifth gear? Do you think I would need to change it on my car, or should I just keep it stock gearing? Or should I put a fifth gear?
You're gonna put more power in it. I would keep it stock.
Yeah.
I am very weird about gears. I'm the worst guy to ask about gear. I love my short gears.
Yeah.
I mean, if
you want to buy my gears, Jose?
Honestly, I probably would if I when I go all-wheel drive. I probably would, because I love short gears. Like I was watching a Hoonigan's video recently, where they're racing this Corvette versus a rally car. They're both in the 800 horsepower range. Their rally car with short gearing can literally almost overtake from a stop an already moving Corvette at the same horsepower. And they're both 6 gears, right? But you could tell that Corvette had longer gears. And shorter gears they just move fast. And I love that feeling. Now, some people don't like it. They don't like the shifting. They don't like the constant shifting. I enjoy the shit out of that. So And even now having the Audi with the short gears, I mean, I just love that. I love my.
Honestly, bro, like like
And
I
I
said, I've
like the
been driving
acceleration.
around.
My thing is acceleration. I like
Yeah,
acceleration.
I've been driving around and like yes, like I'm driving in town in sixth gear because it's just like first, second. Sometimes I'll just skip second, go to third. Sometimes I'll skip, but it's just like power, 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 power. Okay, we're
Mm-hmm.
up to 55 miles an hour. Let's just chill now. You know,
Yeah,
I do like that. It makes the car feel very, very light and very nimble.
very lively. Yeah.
Like I
Now,
was
now, for a drag racer and for purposes of racing and everything else,
autocross.
there's too much math and logic and that I
Yeah.
don't know about because I don't run like that I cannot speak on that. So for
Yeah.
you, Hans, because you sort of like to drive Mexico quite a bit.
Yeah.
You might be okay where you are, unless after we do all these power changes, we still feel like there's still a little bit of bugging down. In your case, you might be okay because you're spinning fourth right now. You're about to add more torque.
Yeah, third to fourth. Yeah, definitely. By the
Yeah.
time you get it back, you'll be spinning fourth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
At least be chirping in the fourth, like hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have more RPM. Yes, I don't know. I would say for now to test it with this, since we don't plan any major changes at the moment, transmission side.
Yeah.
I would just keep it, unless.
How big is a drop in RPM for Hans's car
Go ahead.
between
Go ahead,
fourth
man.
and
Shift
fifth?
at 7,200.
Because I'm thinking here, like
It's-
you
it's a
you
pretty good
probably have a
drop.
very tall fourth gear, right?
Fourth gear is almost same as stock. They're just stronger.
Got it. So that's where the sort of drop is, because it is a big drop. When I was at Lime Rock, I would go from fourth to fifth, and I'm like, just like, please shoot me.
Okay, so
You go from being like, what? To like, whoa.
it goes 72. I'm watching a video now. It goes from 72 to 52.
That is a huge drop.
It's a huge drop. So you can hear it. You can hear it while, like, hold on.
Yeah, that's a huge drop.
52. Holy shit, that's low.
Yeah,
I would almost say
definitely
like, yeah, maybe change it for like another
here you go.
fifth gear.
Listen to this is me going from fourth to fifth, third, fourth to fifth, but
Okay.
Yeah.
that's fifth. You see how long that
He's
shit
like,
is?
oh.
And then you restart. And
You can hear it kind of like, damn,
Yeah.
dude, did you get out of your power band? Like when you shift to fifth.
And one thing is that you might actually balance out really well because raising your rev limiter in general is it might be able to put you back in that VTEC power band where you're making the majority of your torque. So now you'll be able to pull past that first initial bog with the extra horsepower and RPM.
And have that range.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
so
right. That's
you'll be able to drive the car a little bit more
Yeah, I would say
between
leave
each
it,
gear.
leave it.
So it's definitely one of those things where like me and Jose have always been like very like well, I don't know what it's gonna do. Why not just test it? and so we'll do a little bit of research here and there, but if there's something that we think will work, we'll mostly just go for it and test it.
Yeah.
Where like our first air-to-air stuff was like that, where you're like, oh, I want more airflow coming through the core, or I want a bigger core, so we'll move it somewhere else and put piping. Like the early air-to-air manifolds were just cut up CT manifolds, but it was one of those things where like we had an idea and we tested it and it worked, or it didn't work, and we learned from that. But we always, I feel like we've never really been the ones to like go through CFM data and all this stuff. It's just more like, does it flow like water? if so, then send it.
Yeah.
So I was thinking for the
So Hans,
yeah.
sorry. No, go ahead. Finish your thought, because I got some comments that are kind of for you, some questions that are kind of for you.
One more thing. So do you guys want to? So we got a baseline, right? I'm pushing 450, 356 wheel torque. We're gonna do the hybrid cooling, do the extra stuff. Do you guys think, and putting the head, do you guys think we should keep the same PSI pulley setup, take it to Derek's? Of course, the numbers aren't going to be exactly the same, but see how much I gained with the hybrid cooling, everything else, and then swap the pulleys, and then go from there, or should we just go put the biggest pulley for the crank, smallest pulley for the supercharger, and just go all out?
So
Like, do the people want to see a comparison, like what the head really does?
Yeah,
I think that's what it comes down to. Because a pulley swap's not that crank pulley swap is not that difficult, right, Nate? Like,
no, especially if you're already on a dyno, the wheels are off.
Yeah.
It's maybe 10 minutes in impact. But my personal thing for it is going to be obviously the goal is to have a lot less knock than we're used to, which is mostly like why I want to be cautious and just sort of like leave it where it's at.
Yeah.
We don't need, we already know you're going to make more horsepower. Ignoring cooling, just doing the engine build alone is going to bring your RPM up. It's going to make that peak number jump.
Yeah. I would say put the boost up a little bit, at least a little bit, because he will be able to handle it now. Yeah, just don't leave it the same, because it's going to be where he already wants more. We already know what it makes now. I don't think I personally think nobody cares. Like, it's going to make more. I don't even know how to say this sentence. Going more boost will indicate what it can do. We already know it can make less, right? Like, so why bother testing less when you want to find out how much you can make? If you want to make less than that, then just change your pulley. You still know you're going to be safe.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think what I was thinking about doing. So I'm on like 16. I think I'm at 17 pounds, 16, 17 pounds, whatever.
Yeah.
If we kept it at 16, 17, I wonder if we want to know, or the people want to know, at the same PSI, how much more with the ported head, hybrid cooling, did this motor make?
Okay,
you understand?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you. Yeah.
Here's my other point to that.
Yeah.
If you keep the PSI the same, you can find out if you can add more ignition.
Which is another thing we want to test a little bit. It's one of those things where, like, do you feel like testing it, or do you just feel like getting your number?
Yeah.
But pulley changes, we've done that stuff on a dyno. Like, hey.
Yeah, we did it with my car.
Did it with
because
mine?
Remember,
we tried to do it with mine.
I think we started at like 20, 21. Derek was like, dude, you might blow a rod. Like, your motor might blow so much.
Yeah, and back then we were worried about the bottom end a lot, which is why we were pulling torque out of it. And,
but now we're not worried. So I don't know, I'm just debating, just go full send, or should I go, okay, we'll stick it at same 17 pounds of boost, same pulley system, upgrade the head with the hybrid cooling, see how much more we make compared to 450. And then, like Barry said, maybe be able to add more ignition and see what that does.
Okay, you're definitely going to see a bump in boost anyways. Because
listening to it, go ahead.
PSI drop across the core.
That's
you're not going to have that we believe is there. Because, as much as we like the air-to-water manifold, we never intended for it to make 500 horsepower.
Yeah.
Or at least, not that we don't want people doing it. It's that, the core size and the way the manifold flows, it's not for race car purpose, right? Or if you want race car numbers, that's not what it's for. That's why the air-to-air is there, because we want that freedom. Put 1,000 horsepower core in it if you want. Put a 350 horsepower core in it if you want.
Yeah.
Then the biggest thing too will be like the airflow coming out of the blower and then back into the manifold should be a lot less restricted in general. And also the core that we put in place should have a better, PSI drop across the core.
Yeah.
So, I think just air-to-air stuff, because it's more well-tested or documented, that you'll lose like a PSI to 2 PSI, just depending on like what core you want to put in there. So, we'll probably end up hitting 18, 19 PSI, just leaving it how it is.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, like, is it the same? Yes. Is it gonna actually be the same? Probably not. So it's gonna be one of those things where, like, cooling and head flow alone will drop PSI as well. Because now you're flowing that air instead of letting it be a restriction and, bumping that PSI number up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So here's my answer to you, Hans. Thank you, Nathan. My answer is, after listening to you, seeing some of the comments, I know it doesn't encompass everybody in the world, but let's leave it. Knowing Derek, it is an easy air to air fuel ratio change for him. He's going to see the AFR, he's going to adjust the fuel, and you're going to know the number right away. Boom, done.
Yeah.
And we get the numbers. We know what the efficiency was at that point. Then we change the pulleys and go stuff for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look,
it's
the
not
turbo guys
them,
do it all the time. They up the boost on the dyno. They make 1,000 horsepower. Then they drive away with like a 600 horsepower car. And this goes back to my point. I will probably make ridiculous power when I do go K20 swap. But if I still daily drive my car, I'll probably turn it down. Because the way
you won't need to, Barry. You won't need to. You know why I say this? My AP3, even while it's not fully tuned, it's even when I had a more powerful car, Nathan's car going crazy with it, it's still a very drivable car because of VTEC. You can tune your car to be very docile at the low cam. Then when you want to ramp, you accelerate, you hit VTEC, you got your tuning set for the higher RPM, aggressive setup. And then that way you have both of the best worlds. I mean, great gas mileage, nice torque right before VTEC, for quick acceleration when you need it. But you don't need, just because you have 500-600 horsepower, you don't need to drive that, right? You have the range.
No, I mean, like, I drive my car like a grandma every day.
Use it. Yes, you can. When you need to pass somebody, you can just do it.
Oh yeah, the passing part is fun. Like, I think I was driving out of the autocross parking lot, and people were sort of like, And I'm like, I just a little bit of gas, and the car just wham, goes. It just
you're done.
Just destroys, people. I don't know.
Yeah. So if the car was hard to drive, I'll be all over. Oh yeah, lower your boost. But these cars are so easy to drive. I mean, they're aggressive. I'm not going to put that away. They are aggressive, but they're still, once you get used to the throttle and you understand the dynamics, you can still load them on a trailer. You can still go up a hill. It's just a lot easier with a lot less throttle inputs. So get on your head. You got more power. You don't need to give it as much throttle when you need to. A lot of people just try too hard.
No, I don't.
To drive the same. I say, no, I don't do that.
And this is why I see, honestly, I see false knock or low end, what you might call knock, like a lot, because I'll be like in 5th gear, 6th gear, and I just give it a little bit of gas, make sure it stays under like 1 PSI outside of VTEC. And, on a hot day, the car still wants to sort of like complain and whatever. But I keep my ears tuned. I don't hear knock. Like, I don't hear it. And that's not like high, low. So what I'll do is, okay, let's say if I'm driving and I'm in 6th gear, I'm doing 50 miles an hour, and I give it a little bit of gas, and I see knock climbing because I'm just accelerating slowly, passing people. What I'll do next is, let me see if I really have a real issue with my timing. I'll put it in 4th, I'll floor it, and I'll get 0 knock. So I clearly don't have an issue, because when it's in load, when it's, right RPM, all that stuff, I don't get any knock. This is just, the engine doesn't like to surge at low RPM. Even 3,000 RPM is sometimes sort of like, whatever. But this is why I'm convinced I'm just going to add a little bit of race gas every time I pump. I'm actually going to buy 5 1-gallon cans. So every time I don't buy one of those 5-gallon jugs, I'll just split it into each and just, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe that's overthinking it.
Yeah. No, you know what? Just get somebody sell like a little pump you just attach to the damn thing.
Nah, I don't want to buy more stuff. I'll just add a little bit, dude. I don't have to go nuts.
You gave me a great idea for me, because I have the same problem that you have. I have no E85 anymore on my town. And I'm not blessed like Kansas right now with the E85. So I'm thinking about buying the gas and just keeping it here and just do the ad as I need it.
Yeah.
Because I drive the car enough. I don't want to spend, $50-$60 for 5, whatever the tank is. Every time.
Are you going to buy E85?
I bought E85 just for testing. I haven't done it yet. But I'm thinking I'm thinking of doing what you're doing. What you're thinking of doing. Buying race gas, keep pumping 93, and when I want to just up the octane, just add the same fuel, and I don't have to change too much.
Yeah, and I think I'm only going to buy 100 octane. I don't think I need to go all the way up to 104. It's cheaper. Yeah. It's about $5
Yeah, we're
cheaper
trying to have
per
fun.
gallon.
Yeah, we're trying to have fun. We're not trying to win a race to win 10 grand or something. So.
It's funny, but just thinking about it now, it's like we're going to standalone ECU. So we could set something up where we have like a reserve tank and just start feeding as we need ethanol. Just start feeding from the other tank. Yeah, a little 5-gallon tank that sits in the back. But I don't know.
You don't have that much time, Nathan.
I got brainstorming happening in my head.
You just don't. You don't.
Cool ideas, though.
Yeah.
So Hans, I'm gonna talk to Hans real quick. So Hans, your car is here. I have been so busy, to be honest with you, that I have not kept up with your build. I know you and Nathan have been talking a lot. You and Barry have been talking a lot. What exactly are you doing with your car? I know I'm doing and building your cooling setup, but what else is happening on your car?
The head. I got to change the clutch. The block, of course. And
do you know what the compression ratio on the block is?
11-to-1. I kept it the same.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So actually, Derek hit me up today because I asked him, like, do I need a special tune for the break-in, driving it up? He's like, dude, you kept the same compression, use the same tune. Just don't go ape shit with it the first, start up and all that other crap. Yeah. But him and Four Pistons was like, dude, just start it up, let it idle for a very brief time, let it sit, rev to 3,000 for like 20 minutes, drive it around if you want a little bit, drain it, put your favorite oil, and go at it, and it should be broken in.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm doing now. He did also
someone asked if you're doing a 2300.
Not right now. I can't afford it. I'm going to max out the 1900 to see where it could take me first.
Makes sense.
Because I haven't really. I started 1900 at 11 pounds. I haven't even hit 20. Like, I haven't done 20 pounds on it. I've been on under 20 the whole time. I'm at 17 now. My tune is set at 17 psi, and I haven't. Doing my pulley calculations that I did a while ago, I lost exact numbers. With the pulley setup, with the 9-gen pulley and the 2.8 supercharger pulley, I should be in the mid 20 to 26, 27. So that's another 10 psi. And I'm really curious.
I've never had anybody jump above 20.
Yeah, so that's why I'm real curious to see what it's going to do. I want to
Tony
did it out.
Well,
I think Tony hit 22, right?
Yeah, 22 psi.
But was that at the dyno or just at the race?
That was at the track.
Shoot. I think we hit 21 at the dyno for my RSX back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony's dyno, he revved it all the way to 85 also. That's why he was making all that power. I'm telling you, I make more power to 72. It's just he had another 1,300 RPM. He continued.
It matters a lot.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. So we got some shit coming up.
Yeah.
So and then I know for you, I'm building you the air-to-air setup. And when I say air-to-air, that means I'm going to do the air-to-air manifold, but instead of an intercooler, I'm going to put a 1,000 horsepower core. And even though you're not making a 1,000 horsepower core, I'm overbuilding it so that the IITs remain very low. You can do back-to-back races. The cooling stays very nice and steady. Yeah. And again, the CFM stays nice and unblocked, or you don't have a setback on that. Where you have your air-to-water current and water tank.
Yeah.
I might have to lose that on you because you probably won't need it. I might do something a little smaller somewhere else in the car and set you up, set that area up for the core. I don't want to make the path to the air too long so that you don't have a lot of surge or, delay from having to fill that entire air area with boost.
Okay.
So, but anyway, yeah, that's exciting, man. And we're doing a clutch too, right? Nathan is doing a clutch.
Inexpensive clutch.
Twin
Eventually,
disc.
You know, it's worth it,
Yeah.
man. I know it sucks, but
it's
Like
one and done.
Derek also said, I'm gonna be limited. So Derek, he hates
yeah.
I don't want to maybe not use hate. He dislikes the path I've chosen. He has been telling me K20 all day.
You don't have his blessing, basically.
Yeah, I don't. I really don't. And he keeps on telling me, dude, you're gonna be hard getting that 600 wheel. That head sucks. I said, but I got a good deal. He's like, nah, I don't care. Like I kind of want to prove him wrong. Hopefully, I could prove him wrong. But he also said that my limitation right now is going to be my injector size. So I'm not made out of money. I can't be spending.
Talk to me about the injectors. I have an account with the company that I can talk to, and we can work something out.
Okay. So right now I'm at 1300 cc. So he said 500 is doable. He just said if you're really trying to push 600 and above, you're gonna have to start looking at bigger
22s.
injectors. Yeah,
I went straight 22s, and that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Just that way you have the room, and people say, "Oh, my car's not going to idle." Guess what? I idle just fine.
Yeah.
It took me forever to freaking figure it out, but but it idles. And anyway, yeah, we'll talk about that on the side.
Yeah, I don't know who K24/7 is, but I guess he must know Derek because he goes, he hates the R40. LOL.
I know. He hates that thing, man.
Yeah.
He gives me shit all the time about it. Every email he talks shit about it.
Yeah, I invited him. Obviously, I probably should have given him more of a heads up, but he's like, dude, I can't make it. But he would have made it today if he didn't have some family stuff going on.
Yeah, he emailed me about it too. He was like, hey man, sorry couldn't make it. I said, nah, it's cool. I knew it was last minute. Like, we ain't tripping. Maybe come next time.
Yeah, maybe send him a clip of that when we did the flow testing here later. He'll laugh his ass off.
You're like, please, sir, we need some real science.
He'll be like, what the fuck?
Science. Yeah, if you're just joining, I think if you go back maybe 45 minutes into the video, you could see like some flow testing. Very scientific stuff. But yeah, this head is still good. If anybody wants to, honestly, I think Nate, I might give you this head so you could chop it up and
figure out
something. We have one here.
Oh, that's right. We have that crack.
Yeah, we have one here.
Yeah, we have a crack.
But what's funny is, Barry, I never looked at the head that carefully. It's here, and all I did was compare notes on a few things, but I never looked at the intake ports, and you have me freaking curious right now. I am going to have to look at that in more detail, and then when Hans comes in here, it's even going to be more interesting. But
yeah, I mean, you know why I noticed? Because I bought the K20 head a few months ago, and it's a K20 head. It looks good, and I'm like, cool. And then I picked this one up, and I'm like, damn, dude, it's like,
you can see the difference. You can see it. And I don't even think they really did that much as far as
intake girth.
Yeah, it's got some
they just made it bigger. Yeah,
it's getting late. That's how you know it's getting late. Damn, Jose, what are you drinking there? I saw you drinking something.
Just wine.
I want some wine now.
Yeah, I have to share it with the wife. Go get a wine, man. We'll wait for you.
Yeah, go. You guys keep the party going. I'll be back.
So, Nathan, what were you saying?
I forgot what I was saying, but I was just reading the comments. K24/7 just said has been asking about dual injectors because he wanted to do the I guess the larger blower and still have a decent idle and have fuel for have a small injector and then a big injector for when you get higher up in those RPM ranges.
Gotcha.
But it's definitely something I've always wanted to play with, but I've just never had a platform yet that I personally have had the money to support. Yeah. It's not like I'm building 1,000 horsepower platform as much as I'd like to. But it's one of those things where I feel like a dual injector setup on the air would actually work pretty well. Yeah. It's just a matter of stacking fuel rails or offsetting sit or anything like that. But your biggest limitation would just be fuel rail space. But
yeah. Hey, here's the thing, Nathan. I mean, we thought we were not going to be able to make the 2200s or whatever they are now
idle.
Idle, and idle has been very good. Meaning for a performance car, has been very good. Like I could turn the car on, boom, it just starts up. It's taken me a lot of time to refine it, but it's been very good, and we can stop and go traffic. We can, you know, do a quick pull, let off the gas. The car is not gonna shut off. Sometimes I have shut it off, but I think it's just again, it's a big setup.
It's one of those things where it's definitely like fine tuning.
Did you guys start?
How many hours can you put into it?
Did you guys start tuning with Jeff already?
Not yet.
We're waiting for the ECU change. I was gonna do work with Derek, but then I decided to go AEM, and I don't know that he does AEM, and I've already been talking with Jeff about AEM stuff. So we went AEM with it, and I got all the equipment coming up. I got the ECU already here. I got the sensors and stuff like that for fuel
Jose,
pressure.
let me pause you for a second.
Oh, go ahead, man.
Someone's been asking, Hans, someone wants to know if you're going with the iron disc.
Oh yeah, so that's a good point.
Yeah, I was debating between the Action Clutch Ironman disc and the Super Single or something like that Clutch Master, or the Twin Disc Clutch Master. I'm leaning towards getting the Twin Disc Clutch Masters because their 2 discs isn't an iron disc; it's a rigid ceramic.
Nice.
So the longevity is going to be a little bit better than a single Ironman disc. I did talk to Abe. He was the 9th Gen SI guy that his car caught on fire, and he was the one that was beating the Hellcats and stuff. He switched to Ironman disc, and he said drove just like a stage 3. You know, just a little bit heavier pedal feel, but it drove really well. But after just doing a little bit more research, I heard the iron material does wear out a lot faster, and it really digs deep into your flywheel. So
it's definitely race application.
I decided to just go with the twin disc. Probably.
Cool.
It's just hella expensive, but
yeah. So
you gotta do it right.
Material.
Yeah, you don't want to second guess that. But yeah, Jose, you were saying back to that. I only interrupted because he's been asking for a few.
No, that's good. We've got to take care of those guys, man. So yeah, so anyway, fuel. I think we're talking about fuel, right?
AEM tuning.
Oh yeah. So I went with AEM. So we're getting away from Honda. Not that it doesn't work. It's a lot harder to tune a high performance vehicle on Honda, and there's some limitations that I don't want to deal with right now. Especially, I like the idea of having traction control without having to have all kinds of crazy things set up. So I get traction control. I get to get pressure sensors set up so I can keep my engine safe. For example, so you can measure if there's something wrong with the oil pressure, it will put the engine on safety mode. If there's a fuel pressure problem, it's going to put the engine on a safety mode. So there's all kinds of goodies I'm going to be able to get with the AEM for not that much more money on my car. And so I'm excited about that. Something different, something new for MercRacing as well. So now we know Honda, now we know AEM, and we can get to learn both platforms really well, which is good.
Now, on that platform, do you get to keep your ODB2 sensor? I mean, ODB2.
Not on our application, no.
Not on the EP3.
We're in South Carolina, so they don't really do inspections, but that's sort of hush hush.
Yeah.
But no, for a street car, Honda, Flash Pro, Flash Pro is obvious if you have the platform that needs that. But
this is an off-road vehicle at this point.
Yeah.
So as South Carolina allows a lot of more freedoms. So
yeah, we've been exposed to Honda ever since we got into it. So it's one of those things where like we've been doing this for long enough. Why not branch out? I'm branching out into ECU Master for my car, and I've been singing
tell us more about
praises
that
of
if you
it.
don't mind. Yeah.
Mine is basically the same situation. Mine's a little bit smaller. Actually, I have it here. I have a little ECU Master thing, but yeah, this is basically my full ECU. It's got, of course, full ECU. But yeah, no, it's been real simple. I've been trying to learn the software, as much as I can without having it on an actual car yet. But it's one of those things where the standalone allows you to have the freedom to put whatever sensors you want, put them wherever you want. You don't have to worry about, does the ECU like my OEM sensors, or oh, I can't put a GM sensor on a Honda ECU. When
Drive-by cable.
Yeah, drive-by-wire is a huge one for me.
Oh, that's right. I get to put drive-by-wire now too.
Yeah, he gets to play with that.
Nice.
So, yeah, not that they're better or worse. It's just now we can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. Sorry, Nathan. So now you know how you're driving on the highway, and you got like bouncy roads, something like that. You could get dampening going on, and
Yeah.
I don't know, just cruise control. I think.
Cruise control is a huge one. Cruise control is definitely going to happen with mine. I'm not exactly sure about AM. I haven't done that much research yet. But yeah, for me, a big thing for me, I was going to be cable until I started to think. I was like, oh well, I want the car to be more dailyable. I could do traction control via throttle body or do it through ignition. On my car, I have no ABS on it, so I have to add those sensors later. But but as far as that goes, I get to set up throttle control where you can do your
dampening. That Wineberry.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my wife together, but
and
texting me back.
Yeah, you can run one person, but you can set it up to whatever engine you want. So the one weird day that we decide we're done with the K series, I don't know, put a 2J in the Miata or something, or in my case in the Miata, but.
That's weird.
This vibrator's going off, man. But just the flexibility has really been a thing for me. I ever since I finished the RSX, I've been really wanting to sink my teeth into new technologies, and now I'm going to start learning stuff with CAN network, which is going to be a huge thing for me. Where it's like learning electronics all over again for me a little bit. So it's one of those things where I really want to expand, and having it on my car, having another system on Jose's car, we really get our chance to learn new things and give people applications where our stuff is no longer limited by the stock drive-by-wire is not as controllable on a 9th gen platform where you can't do tip and throttle, or the auto tune isn't quite as refined, or you can only run this O2 sensor, or this oil pressure sensor, or this air temp sensor. It's freedom. It's freedom to do what you want when you need it, and that's basically why we're jumping that platform. But it'll definitely be interesting to see how. Hopefully, maybe one day we figure out how to integrate that into our Flash Pro based cars, where because they're the guys who need it shoot more than us. Anybody who's on a cable throttle body as far as the Honda platform goes it definitely needs it a lot more than or don't need it quite as much as the cable guys. But
it's that's cool, man. So and your blower stuff, man, it's on its way soon.
Blower?
Hopefully
supercharger kit for rear-wheel drive coming very soon. We're trying to get stuff done. It's looking promising. All the 3D prints are basically done, and we're waiting on real steel stuff, so that'll be cool.
Yeah. So
Pinky.
He's like, wee, get that finger up.
Pinky. Oh man. So I'm glad we're all doing all kinds of stuff.
What else you got for us today, Barry? What are you thinking for this?
So Hans is doing a lot with his build, and
I'll be right back. I'm listening though.
I'm really glad that we're not all doing the same shit.
That's true. That's the first time all of us are doing something different.
So yes, I am gonna do a K20 head swap. I'm planning for next year. It's really expensive. I think we talked about that already. In the meantime, I'm waiting for a 2300, and I'm gonna try the 2300 on the R40 head still. And so that's really exciting. I think some of the stuff that you guys are finding with it, with tuning, not that it scares me, but like it makes me think like, maybe I should have thought twice about this, you know. So I'll be testing out the 2300 because I think there's a possibility to make more power on the 2300 with same or less boost.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this gives, and this honestly this is out of curiosity, you know, like Jose, you're not paying me to do this. You know, I'm not getting like a free blower here. But I really do think it's important for people to get to see everything, and I'm really doing it mostly for myself. I want to know because, okay, I went from a 1320 that was nearly maxed out to a 1900 that's like coasting, and I'm making more power. I'm making more torque.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, the 2300 should do the same thing.
Yeah.
And
we've been seeing
see.
a little bit of that in the EP3 where, I mean, obviously it's been a while since we've had a 1900 car in house, but you know, we're seeing like the car is a little bit more torqueier because it's making, you know, 12 psi sooner than a 1900 would or something like that. So even though we like to think of the superchargers as, oh, it's instant boost whenever you want it, you know, there is still a buildup that needs to happen, especially with like, you know, it's boost via RPM. It's not just, oh yeah, I let it do anti-lag for a minute and I got 12 psi at, you know, 2000 or something like that. Where you're not going to make 1900, or I'm sorry, you're not going to make 19 psi, at least on our current setups, without going to 1800 or 8000 RPM. It's one of those things where you're if you can have your efficiency of having more air volume moved at a time while still keeping the pressure and the strain that has to happen in the blower, and possibly even the parasitic loss, even though we don't really look into that as much. If we can lower all that while still retaining the same thing, the same, you know, horsepower, it goes into the same like idea of lower PSI, more ignition.
Yeah,
it's basically the same.
Here's a short of that, Nathan. It's like we're making a ton of power without E85, right? Like let's put it that way. We spend more money on a bigger setup, but I didn't have to get E85 to run E85 horsepower.
Yes.
I get power, like you said, a lot sooner. I get low IATs, even at peak boost at 19 or 18 PSI. So we get lower IAT, horsepower, like if I had E85, very immediate response. Yes, it costs more, but it's saving me from spending money on E85 and blah, 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 blah. So if you're not planning to run a blower to its max potential and you just want nothing but low IAT, high reliability, and high horsepower, 2300 all the way is what I've learned from this experience, which at first I was all against it. To remember, all of you guys, 2300, that's way too much blower. You know, no one has maxed out the 1900. But the problem with the 1900 is, or 2320, as Barry learned, you start reaching that peak of those blowers real quick, and then you want more power and you can't. There's no room left.
Yeah.
And with a 2300, you can start. I mean, here's the thing: the 2300, the minimum boost is 17 psi. So don't think you're gonna get, you know, like 10 psi out of it. It ain't happening.
Now,
so if you're set for high horse, go ahead, bro.
This is something that I kind of want to try. Can we make a slightly bigger blower pulley?
You can. I have a 4-inch pulley available, but
that's too big.
I
was thinking like 3.8.
Yeah, but that's not even worth it at that point.
You're
3.8, 4.0.
Hood,
half
headlight,
a PSI. Yeah.
Headlight support bracket.
The reason why
possibly touching the tension.
Yeah. No. My limiting factor right now is the AC line. It's kind of close, but I think there's
that can be moved. That can be moved. Your biggest problem is, the biggest problem is clearance. And honestly, if you're gonna do that, stay with the 1900.
Yeah.
At that point, you make
the 1900 is efficient enough in a range. For 1900, if you're in that 3 to 4 high 400s, go 1900. If you're if you want 450 in your car, 1900 is. If you want the possibility to go from that 425, 450 to 500 plus 6
on 93,
on 93, maybe not 600 on 93, but you can do that on a 23, and we're seeing that. Hey, the 23 is actually a lot more docile than we thought it was.
Yeah, but here's
like we're not even getting knocked.
My whole thing is I want.
That's the crazy part.
Yeah, but you have a good Honda K series engine. Okay.
Oh no, right. Given the situation, given the situation, if I was running, right. Given the situation, if I had a 1900 at that PSI, I would have been knocking.
Yeah.
On pump gas.
Yeah.
Even with the header and everything else. Because we've proven that before on a different setup.
My pet peeve is keeping the PSI the same purely for the purpose of, I mean, I'm going to get more CFM. Same PSI.
Yeah. 3.5 pulley, small crank, you're done.
Yeah, I mean, I already bought the RSX Type S crank pulley, which is the smallest one. But it's only smaller by like, I don't know, 1/3 of an inch, I think. I don't know.
Oh, I just bumped up the pulley size in the EP3 recently, and I went from, I think what was like a 5 1/4 to a 5 3/4, if I remember, or 5.75 pulley. I think we saw like a PSI or two from that. But it was definitely more boost, like in the mid range as well.
It wasn't that much more.
Here's the thing too, like you have a big ass throttle body.
Yes, that's another factor that we haven't even touched yet.
So like we're thinking all the stuff on one side of the blower, but we got like I'm hoping I don't see 17 or 18 PSI is what I'm saying.
You'll be okay, even if
you'll probably get restricted.
I mean, I'll be okay. I already ran 20 PSI for a little while.
Yeah.
But
the efficiency you're gonna gain from it. And again, do you need to drive to 8,500 RPM all day long? You don't.
No, honestly, I rarely
3,000 RPM. Dude, you know what I find myself? This is interesting. Also, was data logging. I was impressed with the fact that I barely go on VTEC.
Pussy.
No, you don't fucking pussy. It's just there's so much power.
Passing semis at 3,500 RPM.
Yeah. Exactly.
I do the same thing. This is why, like, I'm glad my VTEC is 4,000 RPMs now. Yeah. Because I can just sort of like, versus like getting in and getting out. That jitter. I mean, it's smoother on the 9th gen, but it used to be crazy on an RSX. But yeah, no.
Anyway,
Someone said what I miss about the smaller supercharger is it whines, it's loud.
23 is going to be quiet as hell. Yeah, that's what I don't. My videos, you don't hear no whine at all.
I was watching the videos of my autocross, and you could still hear a lot of blower under there. People were telling me like, is that guy supercharged? Because we hear like a little whine, but then all we hear is tire shredding on top of it. Because I was taking off in second gear, and I even shifted
power steering pump going.
Yeah. They thought it was a Subaru power steering pump.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a good time motocrossing, man. But it's no longer for me. I don't think I love it, but you know what the car would become if it became an autocross car.
Yeah.
Cut the fenders, 275s in the front.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
At that point, you might as well buy a cheap car and just
buy Miata, put intake and exhaust. And then put 275s on it.
And you'll be as fast as you need to be.
Yeah, you'll be as fast as you need to get.
I still need to use this car every day.
Yeah.
And dude, that event destroyed my tires. I was hydroplaning like crazy the other day driving to work.
Fuck. That's what it does, dude. Oh my gosh.
Hey, you gave yourself some credit. You were in the top few of that event, time-wise, on street tires.
Yeah. And when was the last time you went racing?
He went autocross racing on his car without racing tires.
Yeah.
He still was up there on the top. The car on his class, which is a neon turbocharged car. Usually those cars are like the top in the top, right? Because they're super light, they're old,
Yeah, and that guy's been. I
you
know
were
that
like
guy.
within less than a second of being first place.
And
And
he's like,
racing
yeah, I
skills.
just got some brand new, whatever the latest autocross tire is, and I'm like, this.
Like I'm on street.
Yeah.
Like he trailered his car there. I drove there.
You drove there.
And I drove home. You know,
there's nothing better feeling than that.
On stock brakes.
I was launching in second, and the guy's like, maybe you should like take off in a higher gear. I'm like, I'm already taking off in second. Like, what do you want?
That's funny to me, guys, because I did autocross and I know how hilarious that is. So,
yeah, people don't get it. I mean, like they just don't get it. Yeah, I didn't build a second gear car, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But
you sort of brought it up with I guess the comment that Unicorn Power put through is that the 1320, the only reason why it screams is the same reason why like the CT and the Jackson Racing screams. It's that you're pushing that blower. Your whine in a sense is just like your restriction against your flow, if anything. So it's almost like the more PSI, but if your blower is bigger, then you don't quite get as much back pressure on the blower. And especially like just the TVS in general is a lot quieter of a blower because of like how efficient the spiral design is. But it's one thing that I always did miss about I used to have a CT kit. Just that one thing is that like you could hear my CT from the highway like 2 miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to leave from school back in the day, and my buddies would be like, "Oh, dude, I heard the supercharger leaving." I was like, "That was like a mile away from my entrance onto the highway when I left." like, oh wow, that thing's a lot louder. But no, definitely.
This is a 4-inch pulley, Barry.
Oh, I want it.
No. This is a 3.5.
I do like the design.
Dude,
I don't know. It's hard to tell, but that's a big difference. I guess you could buy a coaster.
Bring it to the dyno. Bring it to the dyno.
It's pretty. It came out real pretty. I love it.
Because here's the deal. You remember the time we showed up at the dyno with no extra pulleys, and Jeff was like, "Can we slow down the blower?" And we're like, "No. We'll come back in a month." Better be ready, dude.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting going to the dyno and the tuner's just like, "Can you turn it down, please?" And we're just like, "Oh." No. Yeah, we were sort of hoping we could go higher later.
We forgot we had the wrong motor.
Yeah. No, but I love those dyno sessions, man. I look forward to just like getting you guys, I don't know, wherever you're going. Hans, actually, like, I don't know, your build is probably like what, fall at this point, mid to late fall to be done.
I'd say July.
No, July. It'll be done. Oh, wow. I hope not, man. That would be crazy.
Yeah. I would say July.
Your video is vibrating a lot, Hans.
Oh, sorry, I was moving this thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I definitely think cooling will be done at the latest, like mid this month.
Yeah.
I know we have a lot of projects
going on. It's already mid-month because we got Barry coming in next week.
That's true. Yeah, he's going to slow down production like crazy.
End of month.
Yeah. If anybody's upset about orders, it's all Barry's fault when he comes out.
Nah, he's only here for a couple of days doing a video on the car.
No, I actually I said to Jose that, yes, I'm going to visit down there, and we're hoping to go to like Tello the Dragon or something. But I don't care about like just hanging out down there and working, packing a box for some customer or organizing his garage so that, shit can get out on time or whatever. Not on time, but, you get it.
Yeah. And any help helps, yeah.
Because, I know we've hung out before. We're like, oh, let's go to the city and just stay in the city the whole weekend. Like as I'm getting older, we don't need all of that. But
it's a business trip for you anyway, and business trip for us too, because you come in here for a good purpose. So I won't spoil it, so I'll let you announce that later. So hopefully the video comes out good, and
for sure.
and with Hans' permission, maybe we can do some fun stuff with it too, so he can post it. So
yeah, for sure.
Oh, some races.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we didn't end up racing the day after the dyno.
See, you thought that. Oh, you mean that you and Barry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that his car won't be here. He's flying here, unfortunately.
Oh, that's right.
I was hoping he would drive his damn car here, but of course he freaking lazy. Don't want to drive here.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna fly. I'll drive your car.
I could get down there in 2 hours or 12 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gotta give you a hard.
Yeah. I would just want to, get the best out of our time together. Like it's
what we have coming, and I think we're way overdue. We haven't planned this yet, but I know you, Hans, Tony from he's about 2 hours away from us. Tony has a crew of superchargers in his town. That's amazing.
Yeah,
we have to document and do a video with those guys. They are nothing but love to MercRacing and love to the community, and he helped us a lot now too with emails. He's back helping us with emails, which is great. Anyway, so we got to do a video with those guys. We got to do something. Maybe when Hans' car is ready, I know it's kind of short for you after just doing another trip, but maybe we can figure something out and do something with them. And
let's put it up till next year if that's okay, guys. Or at least
that's too long. That's too long.
Or at least winter of whatever, because I'm still trying to figure out the Ariel Atom guy.
Oh shoot, that's right.
When that's gonna happen. Yeah. That's a long trip, and I'm sorry to be like the whatchamacallit.
No, you're not. You just gotta plan ahead.
With the kids and my wife and everything, like there's a limit to like what I can do before she really starts like complaining about me.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be a little bit fair, to be honest, because it's like, all right, honey, I'll see you later. Make sure the 3 kids are still alive when I come back.
Yeah. All good. Yeah, I mean, worst case, maybe we'll collaborate on something, even remote. We probably could do something like we're doing right now, but I drive over there and do a night out with them or something, and it'll be fun.
No, but then we can't like make Tony and those guys bring all those cars up here. I need to bring my car down there. I think would be a good idea. This sounds very plain Jane and simple, but maybe renting out a day at a dyno and inviting other people. Like there's guys who follow me.
Oh my God, that would be so awesome.
There's guys who follow me from the Night Gen forum that are right in South Carolina. There's another YouTuber. He has an RSX. He just went Jackson Racing Supercharger. I think he's in North Carolina. So there's a lot. We can get a lot going on down there, right in your area. I can sleep on your couch, and so that's, I don't know. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And then
let's talk about a little bit more about that. I think it's overdue. I think we have a lot of good people that would love to enjoy. So somebody's asking you, is that guy in California? Yeah, he's the Ariel athlete in California, Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah, California. So he's got that guy. I have to say he's become a great friend to me and Barry. He has taken it upon himself to help MercRacing develop a supercharger kit for the Ariel Atom. Here's the crazy part. I did not know he was doing this. Out of his heart, he bought the kit. He didn't ask me for a discount. He didn't ask for shit. And I'm going to be straight out with that word. He didn't ask for shit. And he bought it. He developed. He said, Jose, I need this to happen. Jose, I need you to adjust this. Jose, this is the belt that you need. Jose, this is... And I am like, whoa, where did this
He modified your tensioner recently.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So anyway, so where am I getting at? So we're going to have pretty soon announcing a Ariel Atom Supercharger kit, thanks to that gentleman, and I can't wait to post that out to everyone. I'm using this as a plug here a little bit, but we're also developing an Audi S4 Supercharger kit, and we already developed the second version of the K Miata Supercharger kit, which is going to be a true bolt-on kit with the help of my son. K Miata has helped us with a lot of things as well, providing us with some discounts in the subframe and things like that, so to help Nathan out develop his car. So that's a lot going on. People think I'm just doing one thing and wonder why I'm so late on things, but we have a lot going on. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to announce a kit for Ariel Atom, a kit for Audi, hopefully by the end of the year, a kit for the K Miata, and all kinds of side projects that we're working on top of orders and everything else. And still having a full-time job,
Yeah.
which is nuts.
Yeah.
And then dealing with Nathan every day, which is
Yeah.
insane. So,
Yeah.
so, but on top of that, building cars, like Hans Car, dealing with Barry's build and people all over the world. And so it's been a good year. I mean, I know I'm kind of sidetracking a little bit, but I thought I'd plug that in for you guys. So,
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Mikey, I see you here, man. Your kit almost made it out to you, brother, but thank you for being so patient and everybody else. And but your kit will be out next week. I do have your parts pulled out, and I just didn't get to make it out by Friday. So
Yeah. Oh man, like that, you got a lot going on. I think out of all of us, you have the most, and yeah, they're called K Power Industries now, but
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
everyone sort of kind of knows that, and but still, we should try to give them their proper name because that's
Yeah,
the new name.
they're finally branching out. They've got a lot of cool projects going on. They're going FRS BRZ. You get the E30s.
BMWs, yeah,
That's
Yeah,
one I
so
want to get into, man. I want to build a super charity kit for those guys because they've tried so many times, and I don't think anybody's making good power with them.
with which ones?
With the BRZ.
Oh yeah, with the
Super
art,
sure
with
they
the
they keep trying to go cheap on it, and instead of make a mess and
yeah, the only one that was really available was that Edelbrock unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That'll be a handful right there. A whole new manifold.
Yeah.
And the issue is a lot of those guys, I think their throttle body's near the firewall, so they're limited with the size of the blower.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
Well, we
think
could do like we did with a K Miata.
your K Miata design is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It eliminates having all these pulleys too, like a shaft, a pulley here, another pulley there, all that crazy stuff that you get when you get a whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
this guy K24 mentioned something real quick, Barry. Can you talk about or you, Hans, one of the two of you know this data better? The reason why we do the Type S oil pump on your K20 whatever motors on the 9 gens. Yeah.
I'll talk a little bit about that. The K24. I'm guessing you're still here. You just, I just saw that comment. Why is it delayed?
Yeah.
So the Type S oil pump, it's simply, so one of the things, and I was watching a video about this today, are harmonic vibrations. I guess inline four-cylinder engines are notorious for harmonic vibrations. And if you ever had like a solid motor mounts on like a B series or an early K series, like you just know the car would just shake like crazy. So one solution that they found was putting harmonic balancers integrated into the oil pump right underneath the crank, for I think the K20 C3 and every engine up after that. But that pump is really heavy. It adds friction, a ton of friction, and not a whole lot of efficiency. It makes it easier for oil changes because the filter's at the bottom, not behind or whatever. But I did the upgrade with Nathan's help and K Power Industries. They were really good because a lot of these parts are on back ordered from Acura for Honda or whatever. But he was very flexible. He said, "Hey, I'll sell you just the kit without the pump. You can go out and get your own pump." And there were other places that sell the kit, and they weren't really, I don't know, willing to spend that much time. But he sent me the invoice, and I bought everything I needed from him. And we had to do, like Nathan had to grind the oil pump itself. so that it cleared the
standard K20 on a K24 block.
Yeah, but honestly, it's, everyone says that it's the most difficult mod on our engine, but I don't think it is.
That was the simplest. I mean, that's the most I've ever had to do on an engine, but like I've had to do to install like early supercharger kits than I had to do an oil pump.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, anyone who thinks that it's difficult, try setting up a Jackson Racing tensioner.
Yeah.
Oh my! Barry, Barry, that's what started MercRacing, by the way.
I know
that right there. That's what created MercRacing, the tensioner from Jackson Racing on the RSX days. Everyone has MercRacing today because of that.
Yeah, so you could thank Jackson Racing for that one.
I'll leave it at that because that's a long story, but
that is a very So the Type S oil pump. This is why I can rev to 8200 safely. I know that every component in the engine is getting better lubrication. I don't know about proper lubrication, but it's, you don't have the oil pump trying to lube itself, and because there's some heavy gears that are in there adding friction and all that stuff. And people said it adds vibrations. I think I'm starting to notice it now. I didn't notice it so bad at first, but there's more vibration from certain plastic pieces inside the car, like the little tray that pulls down from underneath the stereo. That's starting to vibrate a little more, and every now and then I just gotta like nudge it and touch it, and it'll stop vibrating. But funny enough, when the car's warmed up and I've been driving it for a while, the vibrations sort of go away. But yeah, the oil pump is a must-have. I don't know. If I was NA, I would do it too. Because you gotta drop the oil pan. Access can be kind of. Now, Nathan, if the engine was in the car, would you have to take off the timing cover as well?
You do have to do the timing cover so you can change chain.
Yeah.
So you have to change the timing chain for the oil pump. But realistically, the cover is just 10 mils with some smart socket placement. You could get away with it. I think the biggest thing would be, I don't remember if the subframe clears.
The subframe has to come out.
That usually is a problem because
it could either come out, or you could do the cheat where you drop all the subframe bolts and unbolt your steering rack, and you can hang it by the A-arms. It works better, obviously, if you're on a lift, but you can drop the subframe down a couple inches usually and get away with it.
If you're mechanically inclined, it's possible.
Yeah, you can figure it out.
Exactly.
And it's not like you're cutting anything on the block. You have to you don't even have to drill and tap it on the R40s. I believe they're all pre-tapped. All you do is unbolt the stock pump, get rid of the windage trays, little splash guards for the oil, put a K21 in. You got to pull there's like a small oil restrictor. If you look up any of the other ones, you see it all over the place. People forget to put them in.
Unicorn is like, whoa, he disagrees. It's way more involved.
Way more.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you come over with your angle grinder. You put the oil pump on the bottom of the block. You take your Sharpie, mark where you need the cut, and just sort of cut it.
But a lot of people are buying the pump from either PRL.
People buy them pre-cut, and shoot, that makes it even easier.
You don't have to buy an angle grinder from Harbor Freight.
Yeah, Harbor Freight.
It's just scary. It's scary coming in to your car that you spend all this money on and probably rely on for daily transport, because I know I still do. And you come in and you have to go take an angle grinder to a part that you put in the car. You end up stressing out about that more than you do actually trying to install the cart.
Here, Nathan, I'm sorry. Here's something I want to add to a comment that was made about the harmonics will create degradation over time. The RSX never had that shit, and my car or many cars out there didn't have a harmonic balancer oil pump. So, and they lasted over 100, 200,000 miles just fine. I mean, my EP3 didn't have that crap on. And am I right, Nathan? That was a regular oil pump. Yeah, so over 247,000 miles, and the only thing that went out on that car was the cams, which is a known issue with that car. But
and that's probably an oil.
Yeah, that was just issues with that. Exactly, with that small engine.
Yeah, you don't know how that engine was maintained either.
Yeah, what I recommend on that thing though is by an experience that we had recently here in the shop or at the house. We're building a race car. We had a gentleman come here with a green RSX build motor that had the motor balanced.
Yes.
And oh my God, that car had solid aluminum mounts to the body of the car, and it idled better than my cars with the rubber mounts.
Yeah, wow. So vibration wise,
yeah, no vibration. That car was quiet.
It's still a race car, but
it
was smooth. It was smooth. It didn't rattle your teeth. You could sit in it and not get a headache, except for the fact that it was just straight header.
Loud.
But,
and even that didn't seem loud, right?
Yeah, even then it was just loud to the neighbors. Sitting in the car, you're just like, oh, it's a little boomy in here. But other than that,
balancing the crank, oh my God, if you have the money, like I would do that now. If I had the opportunity to do it again, I will get the motor balanced.
What's interesting too is that I believe that the factory crank is balanced. Obviously, it's balanced within whatever tolerance the OEM is going to let you have.
Rods, if I understand correctly. So that way, so that's
everything has to be a balanced set. A lot of places that take it more seriously will do your clutch and flywheel at the same time.
Wow.
Along with your crank pulley. But yeah, they want piston rings, pistons.
And that will make the car quiet.
Yes. That'll lower down your dash vibrating. Definitely, if I ever have the opportunity to do that on my own car, I'd definitely go for it. But it's one of those things where we don't think about it because we're not, we don't really need it in our platform, or at least not technically we don't need it. But like if you look at like the SR20 guys from like Nissan or the K24 A4s or whatever they do, or the KA24s, they have to balance their cranks for anything more than like 400 horsepower.
Really?
Otherwise, it just shakes itself apart, and it'll blow rods or wear out bearings extra fast like that. Or that's why like factory dampeners are so important. I think the 2J guys have issues with that, but we're a little spoiled here in the K series community because the cranks are relatively well balanced. But if you want the best or a better experience with that, I think that's definitely going to be something that we start seeing more often.
Good point, Nathan.
So that guy with the green car, right? I mean, he had some surgeries, so he had to, take some time off. I think he's recovering pretty good, so that's good to hear.
Yeah,
he did one event after you put the 19. Is it a 1900?
No,
yeah, he did one event.
19, yeah.
The 1900 scared him, didn't
it? Yes,
slower.
That guy, he went slower, but he also hasn't driven that car in almost 2 years because of COVID. And then before that, it was parked because of a fire in his house and everything else. So he's been rebuilding the car. And then after rebuilding the car, then COVID came. Then the build came. Then finally he gets his car, gets to do barely fully tuned. I mean, he tuned it, but he wasn't fully tuned because his header was a limiting factor in his car. So anyway, so he went to drag race, and the car was so scary to him, so new to him, that he wasn't performing his best because he was getting used to all the power. But he is so happy, man. He is so excited for the car. He's like, Jose, this is just a rocket ship. This is just insane. So he's got to learn to drive the car. He may have to do something with grip, even with slicks, right? The car is super light
going to be
right
transmission.
Now. Yeah, IFEs are super low. We set them up as well with a 1,000 horsepower core, and I can't wait till he gets his feet wet or that car next year and start doing some events like he used to do. So
absolutely,
yeah, I don't doubt that he'll go low 10s if not break the 9s because he's got experience.
Oh yeah,
I
They
think
got the
he's
experience.
fighting not to break nines right now, or at least that's what he's worried about, because I think he's got some kind of weird clash regulation.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he raised brackets, so
Yeah.
he tries to keep things. He wanted to have enough power to run tens without having to fight for it. He wanted to be effortless.
But then we also went, oh, well, just sort of send it, and he's like, okay. So now he'll find a different bracket to sit in, hopefully. But
it was supposed to go 10.5 or something like that, but
yeah. Now we do. I don't know. We're looking at 2 hours live. It's a good group.
What?
I mean, everyone that's here. I'm really glad everyone showed up. Even the guy from Australia, he actually bought your kit. He's still waiting in line, but he's 14 hours behind.
Is he here?
He just left. I'm guessing he said he had to go feed some wild Australian animal or something.
I'm sorry.
But
some dingoes.
No, but I'm like, the showing was good. I'm really glad. Everyone's very technical. K24, 7, lots of good input. 4-cylinder unicorn. He was here like before this stuff started. So thank you guys for being here. We can keep the show going, or I don't know how you guys are looking on time. I do want to recircle back to the whole K20, K24 thing before we close it. Just to say, like, yes, it's been fun. This is what we did. So what do you guys think? Can you go a little longer? Should we start closing it?
I'm good either way. I mean, if I close, I want to end up doing more work anyway. So, I don't know, Hans, how you doing, man?
Yeah, dude.
I'm tired. I don't know if you guys know, I've been yawning.
It was hard to tell, but yeah, I think I noticed.
Yeah.
I just get tired.
Nah, I'm tired too.
I want to hear what Hans's input. Like, having seen like my little show and tell, and what's your take still about the, like, I'm not trying to sell you in the K20. This is not what this chat was about. What's your take on the K20, K24 at this point?
I think it comes down to budget. If you're not, at the end of the day, like if you're building a full built race car, go with K20. But if you're like just like the average Joe like me, to me it comes down to price. And I don't think if you don't have the money to spend, don't spend it. If you want a good option, stick with the ported K40 or the R40 head. I think it really just comes down to your personal preference and how much money you got. I mean, if I had unlimited money, dude, I would have just fully built the K20 head, cammed it, high-tech header. I would have done, everything. But when I priced it out, I just got a great deal on the R40 head. That's why I went with the R40 head.
It's simple. It's just bolt on.
It just comes down to price. But
another thing too, you're keeping the car as true to its form as possible.
Yeah. So that's another thing. Yeah,
resale,
you're right. Like
emissions, all that stuff, inspection.
Yeah, I wanted a
easier roadmap.
I think now more and more people doing the K20 head swap, and now that you're doing it, I think there's going to be enough data for you guys to put out there. No one's done a ported R40 head. This is it. So I figured, let me try to take the K24 Z7 to its max and see what it really does.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what the R40 head ported does on an NA car compared to a K20 head swap. I don't know if we'll ever see that. I don't know, the people hate the Z7 motor, right? For some reason, they just don't like it. Maybe one day we'll see someone do it. But as of right now, I kind of just want to see what its potential is. Now that everyone's doing K20, I want to do something different. I'm always the type of guy that wants to do something different anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just who I am. So, we'll see how it does.
And one thing to add is that, if it wasn't for the fact that the header is like $1,800,
I can't believe I ordered it.
Yeah, a K20, just a basic head swap, if we were in like a different chassis platform where we didn't need that header would be like $400, and the K20 head swap would make a lot more sense as like a stopgap between. Do you feel like paying $2,200, $2,500 to have your R40 ported, or do I want to have, oh, my buddy just gave me a K20 head for like $200, and all I gotta do is put a header, shave down a bolt, and RTV this little area. Yeah, that's the one nice thing about the K20 head swap as far as I understand. But it's the header. The header is the worst issue about doing the K20 head swap, which is why the issue that Hans has, where it's like, yeah, it's nice and all, but the Hans wants to port the K20 head, which is another $2,700 or $2,200 that he has to do anyways. So either way, he's spending that $22 to get the head ported, which I believe the cost really isn't that much different between the two heads to get that done. But it's just that header header is the number one factor.
Because I've seen the banged up Skunk 2 header.
Yeah,
dude, you're banging the fucking shit shrinks from like here to here, man. It's to me, I don't know. I think it would bother me, and I think that will cause some restriction in the flow. I mean,
we've all watched the Engine Masters video where they took a big ass sledgehammer, but it's still they're round for a reason.
And I mean, like there's one guy who went from the banged up header to the other one, the high tech, because he's like, dude, like this, it just looks ugly. It's not nice,
It's crushed.
And another thing is like to remove his header, he has to remove the subframe or at least drop it a little bit. Yeah. So it's like that sucks. I don't want to deal with that. That goes back to the R40 downpipe being so stupid simple to do. Like you could do it one-handed, really.
The R40 is definitely the simplest Honda header I've ever had to deal with.
So I'm kind of very excited, anxious to see, like, with the R40 head ported. Let's see how it does temperature-wise, the knock count, everything. Let's just see what it does. And I'm pushing it to the max. I'm supercharged. You know what I'm saying? So
the only thing I wish you did was 10.5 to 1.
Or 10 to 1, even.
Yeah, I was, but then.
But you got E85.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What's the point? I'll lose power at that point. If I don't knock on a maxed out 19, I'd rather have it on a higher compression motor if I don't knock.
Well, I mean, but you're still the 1900. I'm confident you could run 25 psi maybe, with the amount of pulley that's available, and we're only at 17 right now. You still have a lot of extra psi to put on as far as like engine goes. The only reason why I recommend 10, compression in the 10s to anybody is that just to leave that gap right now.
Safety.
In our situation with you, we're going to be more, okay, what's the max that we can push this compression ratio to, which is definitely going to be interesting. It's just, if I was going to be like, if I'm going to give this information to anybody and I don't know who it's going to, I would recommend the 10s because that's just generally safer. But since we're dealing with somebody who knows the risks and understands that, then, you're not in as much danger because you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
which is what we're dealing with. Yeah. Exactly.
I'll never go 93 on this motor.
Exactly.
I'm not going back. And E85, just experimenting with it at 17 pounds of boost right now. I got 0 knock. I'm pushing 450.
It definitely does its job.
And talking to a lot of people, talking to Derek, he's like, dude, you have a lot more room for E85.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I went that way. And then knowing me, I'm crazy. If I did start running into knock, I'm weird. I'm gonna go meth injection. Like I'm weird. Like I'm just gonna add all this other kind of shit to it.
No, math.
But that's what I'm saying. This car wasn't built like 93 was just out of the question. I wasn't thinking about like safety and
right.
I have ethanol, so I'm not too worried about it because
Yeah.
if I max out, let's say the max PSI for the blower is 25 pounds. If I went 10-1, I'm losing power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in a
If I'm not
sense.
knocking, the only reason why we go reduced compression is because we don't
You're
have.
gonna add more boost
Yeah,
to
we can add
replace it.
more boost because we want to lower the temperature, right? We want to prevent knocking.
Yeah.
Now, but if we have fuel to compensate for that, we will never go low boost or low compression.
Right.
You'll just go 15-1 at 50 pounds of boost if you could have fuel that could suppress the knocking
Mhm.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
I know one guy, Jeff Fair. I don't know if he changed his mind or not, but he is doing just like you, 11-1 compression, if not higher,
On a
I
2300,
think
right?
it was in the
on a
12s.
2300. Yeah, so I'm dying to see what his beast does this time around. But
Yeah, this
so
is
you
gonna
may be
be
onto
ignition
something. You may be
monster.
onto something. Yeah,
and
you may be onto something.
I think that's why so that video you sent Jose or Barry sent. If you have lower compression, right, and then there's the whatever, the lower compression, you'll have let's say 9-1 goes up to here, 10-1 goes
Mm-hmm.
up a little bit right here, right? Now, if I'm running like a turbo that's going to push 50 pounds of boost, I'm pushing more compressed air in a space like this. So if I could put more compressed air into that space, then it makes sense to go lower compression on a high PSI application. But
Mhm.
I don't think with the 1900, if max is 25 pounds, I don't think
Yeah.
going 10-1, I would actually lose because the volume, if I went 10-1 here, it's not going to be as great as a explosion if I go 11-1 and the rod could handle the pressure of the 11-1 plus the 25 psi.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
know
the
what I'm trying
limiting
to say?
factor is also, like, if you think about it, it's ignition. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
in the end, that's similar to the issue that we always run into. Like, let's up the boost, but then we gotta drop ignition. So,
yeah.
Mhm.
There's no.
you know, we unfortunately we don't. This is a four-man group. We're all doing all kinds of sort of different builds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can't test every single scenario.
No.
No.
But me, if I was to do it all over again, right now my motor's 10.5. I wish I went 10-1 because I don't have the 85.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm happy to put some race gas at this point
Yeah.
on my engine. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I really think the issue of losing a little bit of throttle response at like 1200 RPM is going to be.
because there's a few days here that it got to like 90 some degrees, very humid, and the car felt not as springy or whatever, but yeah, you and also the knock count was way more sensitive. And again, it's nothing. I don't want to scare anybody. Like, oh, hey, these guys. I'm not knocking like an insane amount, but to me, any amount that I can avoid, I'll avoid. It's worth it. And the other thing is, I still don't hear it. I'm going off of the sensor, which is already highly sensitive, very very sensitive. But anyway, guys, let's close it up there. I'm really happy with the turnout. There's a lot of guys who are very technical and joined in and ask a lot of really good questions.
I'll tell you one thing though, Barry. It's just kind of crazy. We went from a 6 back to 8, so we got some new people join us just recently.
Yeah,
So I feel bad for them because hey, you missed a lot. But what I recommend, guys, if you missed a lot of what we talked about today, just go back, check it out. This will
And
be
the VODs are always
going.
available.
Yeah. This will be going live. Not live, but available after the
It should
whatever.
be soon.
It gets saved. You'll be able to join Reese's here and
yeah.
play the video back later on. It's a lot of
Yeah.
good topics that we went through.
And for those of you joining just now, I did bring a K20 head for show and tell that I sort of rigged up with some paper thing but if you go back maybe to, I don't know, about 45 minutes into the video, you'll see some really cool, weird stuff that we like to flow test with. But, we do try to be a little bit scientific about the process here. So Thanks everyone for joining and for being a part of it, and we'll keep coming. We'll keep doing some of these. Hopefully, we do another one next Friday when I'm down in South Carolina.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, we'll be live next week.
Hopefully, get some content.
Weekend. Yeah, I don't know. We don't know if it's. Yeah, it'll likely be Saturday. So I would like for us to do a few things before we go live.
Hey, Jose, how far is Orlando from you?
About 8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a bad drive. It's a beautiful drive that way.
Yeah, think about there's a couple of people down in Florida with turbo Civics, 500 plus wheel horsepower. That I told them I was going to come down there after my car is done to race. So I'm thinking about going down there one of these days.
Nice.
I would do it. I would do it.
Yeah, just to get. I don't know if you guys follow Main SI.
Not personally, no.
So yeah, he has a lot of. IG has like 13,000 followers, and he has a fully rebuilt K24 Z7 turbo. He's pushing low to mid 500s. He's destroying Hellcats left and right, with ease. So I'm kind of curious to see when I upgrade my car, what it could do against his car.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of turbo 9th gens down there for some reason. I follow a couple guys that are turbo 9th gen. They all live in Florida. So.
Man, it sucks. I had a buddy that I worked with who was turbo 9th, and he was right in that same 500-600 horsepower range. He ended up blowing his thing up too many times, so he just got rid of it. Bought an RSX, but no, that's definitely going to be awesome, man.
Oh, Junior will be at the dyno, so my dyno. So his car should be. He got the Abe's, the guy that blew up his car got caught on fire. He bought his built transmission.
That's right.
Oh, nice.
So he did that, and he did a couple things. I know he was going to take it down to you, Nate, but
he
didn't want to wait too long. I get it. It's nice weather. So he did a lot of his work himself and his buddy. And then I gave him the traction balls and stuff. So he said he's going to set up his tune date, and he's hoping for low to mid 400s on his turbo.
Nice.
And so I probably could all race after the dyno. We'll see.
Awesome, dude. I'll come to dynos at Derek's shop. I'm guessing.
Yeah, Derek.
That was a good time.
Let's do it again.
So he'll come to mine. So we'll see.
All right, guys, we're gonna finish it there. Thank you everyone for hanging out.
All right, man.
Hans,
thanks everybody
for hanging out, dude.